Just build an addition onto your tent. It's been a smoky week here in the Canadian woods. I've been living in my tent now for a while, and it's time to get an upgrade. I need a place to store my tools, somewhere that isn't where I sleep, so I cleared out a patch in behind my prospector tent and got to work on a basic shed, just made from regular lumber. At least that's the plan. I am a bit rusty on these things, so we'll see how this goes. Since the winter of 2026, I've been living in my tent on 25 acres of wildland that I bought. I sold my place just before, and now I'm spending all my money on an off-grid house build. When it's done, there will be no mortgage and only a few bills to pay because I'll be on well water and solar power. I've done this once before though. This is my first log cabin you're seeing. I cut this thing right from the trees off the land. It was a simpler build, but I did it for the exact same reasons. Freedom and immersion in nature. It was home base for 5 years. Though I love the round and rustic logs in my first cabin, for my house, I'm using squared logs from a local mill. You see, I'm not a builder by trade. I'm a musician and an all-around regular dude, so for a house build, I'm not messing around. I'm going to build something I can actually handle and something I can hopefully get into before this winter. Of course, there will be a log cabin built deep in the property once the house is done. That'll be the next project, but for any dreamers out there looking for a way out of the system, take my videos as a blueprint for one way to get there. Because if I can make this happen, well, so can you. So welcome to my little corner of the woods. It's already July, and house materials are set to be delivered soon. But just before we dive into the shed build, here's a look around camp and a shout out to this episode's sponsor. I got my dragonflies on here for the bugs. They're still pretty bad out here. Oh my God. Ugh. Oh, these bugs are driving me nuts. How do you do it? DJI Power 1000 Mini. How do you meditate out here all day in the bugs and not get bothered by it? You think you're pretty tough, huh? You think you're pretty tough. DJI Power 1000 Mini. Well, today we're gonna put you to the test. Let's see what you got. So, fellow dreamers, as you know, I've been living here in my tent full-time since March. Basically, this has been camping on steroids, but one of the single biggest game changers in my lifestyle here has been this amazing little unit, the DJI Power 1000 Mini, from this episode's sponsor, DJI. For so long, I was charging everything in my car. Don't do that. If you need portable power, just Google DJI Power or check out their website. They've got all the stuff you're going to need. So all the shots you're seeing here is everything I've charged since I hit the 100% mark on the battery. The screen on the unit makes it super easy to track your power usage, to know exactly how much power you have, so you aren't stuck without any. You're also witnessing what 1 full kilowatt of power looks like without any recharging. It happens to also be the world's smallest 1 kilowatt portable power station. So it takes a little more than 1 full day of sun to charge this thing fully with the panels. If you're an aspiring digital nomad, a hardcore camper, a van lifer, or if you just are a day tripper who likes the comforts, I'd recommend you grab this unit for yourself. So I've tried to keep my charging here in these shots as natural as possible throughout the course of my battery life here. I charged what I needed to without any plan. I'm just mainly charging my phone, my laptop, blender, camera, and drone batteries. But this thing is absolutely capable of running an appliance of 1,000 watts if you need to. My favorite feature is the retractable USB-C cable. You can see me using it a lot. It just keeps everything organized. There's less wires around, and it gives anything a good charge that it touches. And it's been so hot out here that I needed to try running my fan, and it worked like a charm. It was amazing. No issues. This is a serious piece of gear. It's also equipped with 10 different temperature sensors, 26 fuses for comprehensive circuit protection, so they're not messing around. And the last of my battery here was spent editing this very video with the full laptop charge, as you can see here. And down to 0. Okay, one more test. Can this thing record music? Let's give it a try. Some electric guitar. And let's see if it can do some vocals too. Of course it can. Before the plane and motor, now sled was the only way to shine a light across this lonely place. I'm actually going to be recording a demo in my tent this year, and I'm going to do all the vocals powered right from the DJI Power 1000 Mini here in my tent. So folks, check them out on Google, check out their website, DJI Power, and find one for yourself today. Thank you, DJI. The only other big task I got around to this week was cutting up some wood. I finally tackled that maple tree at the front. It'll be great firewood. And I also randomly rescued this very terrified toad from the pile. That big pine log you see in there is going to become kitchen cabinets soon, so I'm not sawing that up. Basically any decent pine in this pile, I'm working around and cutting the rest up for firewood. It's been a bit of a battle cutting up the wood in this heat, but it's also nice to have a handle on the pines that I'm going to mill up for later. So, anyways, onto the state of my tent. Yeah, it's a mess in here. Gets to be really messy in here and drives me a little crazy. I'm kind of a minimalist. I don't like a lot of stuff around, so this is like my worst nightmare. So, yeah, I need a shed. This has to happen. So the woodshed project began with hauling every last stick and sheet of lumber to a dry spot that wasn't in the way of the build site. So I chose the spot along the side of the tent. It was good enough. The goal this week is just to get the roof on. So I'll be using conventional lumber and drawing on experience from my earlier days at the cabin. And here's a view of the back of the tent, where the build will be. I've been collecting way too much stuff, so there's nowhere for me to put it anymore. As you can see, Blue Eddie sent me a couple gifts there, which I'll be unveiling next week. Now that it's more or less cleaned up, I'm heading over to the freshly drilled well to collect the stone dust that the drilling left behind. There's tons of it, and I figure it's going to make a good base for the pads I'm going to lay down for the shed. I just had to fix this bucket first so I could actually haul it away. That's better. I think I made about 5 or 6 trips full of this stuff. I've never used it before, so we'll see how it does. This was a big moment here. I needed to change the support on the back of my tent. It's been held up by a frame made of poles I cut in the woods from this past winter. But now, this back tripod will be in the way of the shed. So I was a bit nervous to see if these 2x4s could handle the weight, but it worked like a charm. It's amazing how strong just some 2x4s and 3-inch screws can be. And the tripod's out of the way. Hasn't moved in months. Now that I've got a cleared patch, I just got straight to work on the foundation. My go-to foundation is the floating one, the one that I've done the most before. My old cabin was a floating foundation too. So I got to digging. I didn't have to dig far. It's basically all bedrock around here. So I got the mossy layer off and threw in that stone dust in all the holes. And once the stone dust was in there, well, I just started leveling away. I leveled the stone base itself, and then the concrete pad that goes on the stone base, and then the block that will go on the concrete pad, which will hold the post. So it was a bit finicky, but it's critical to get this bit right, or as close as you can get, because once you do that right, everything else will be nice and straight and level as you go. So I took my time with this part. So after I did that for all the corners, I cut the 2x8 box that would make the frame for the shed. I'm using 3-inch deck screws because I may take this thing apart later. I'm not sure yet. I also think for an 8x6 shed, 3-inch screws are probably just fine. Now it was time to square it all up. And once I got it all square, or close enough to it, I put these diagonals on. Then I double checked the square, and once it was good, I fastened the other diagonal on there. Then I got marking the joists and leveling the corners. I'm just going to let this whole thing unfold for you now, without me rambling on. The process just kind of speaks for itself if you watch close enough. I'm not perfect at all this, but I think I managed all right. You tell me. Let me know what you think. All right, so here we are, about to put all the joists on. I'm just gonna show you how level I am because I'm proud, okay? Because I'm actually shocked that I got it as level as I did. Can you see the bubble? I don't know if you can see that bubble, but it's level. Nice and level all the way around. That's what we're looking at. Or pretty darn close anyways. And the same thing here. I'm just checking all the sides. You know, when I do this, you only have one shot to get it right. You can't take it apart and redo the foundation, right? And then sometimes I put it on the corner. This one was close enough to being in the middle. It's a little bit close to one line, but hey, that one's pretty bang on. I just wanted to show you. It's hot out here. It's freaking buggy. The bugs are just like coming and going in waves. They'll swarm and they'll get in my face, and their papery, gross little wings are all over my face sometimes. And then they go away, and then I forget about them and they come back. Anyways, we're getting somewhere. I'm about to put these joists on. It's hot. Yeah. And just a little bird's eye view here. Those joist hangers are all on. Don't look at them too close. All the nails aren't in there because I'm likely gonna take this apart, I think. Once the tent comes down, once the house is over there. So I just put in enough to keep it strong, and you know, they're in most of the way so I can take them out easily, but it's shaping up, folks, it's shaping up. It's really hot out here as well. Oh my God, this sun is just, thank God I have this tarp. So I didn't want to do this, but I took this post out because it was still inside the bubble, but like the level, but it was just too close to the side of the line. So I'm just gonna take a saw blade off this and see if it helps. That was more than a saw blade, but let's see what happens here. Didn't even change that much. Weird. It's a bit better. Bit better. That's good. I think I'll just leave it alone.
So after these first days, the smoke really came in from the fires. It made for a pretty surreal experience out here. It was definitely playing with my senses. It kind of felt like it should be missed, but something was a little off. Either way, it's all part of life living in these woods.
Well, I can't tell if that's smoke or mist. Hard to tell. It might sound weird to say that, but obviously there's a lot of forest fires going on right now in Ontario. That smoke is blowing towards me. I'm quite far from the actual fires, but because I live outside, I can't tell if I'm breathing the smoke in or not because I'm just living in a tent. So I don't know what's going on. Smoke or mist? I think it's smoke. Oh, maybe not. I see blue sky. I see blue sky. I think I'm good. Usually I'm good at telling this sort of thing, but I cannot tell if this is smoke or mist. We are gonna find out, but that looks promising. That's quite blue up there. Yeah, that's smoke. We're in the thick of smoke here. Holy. Wow. That ain't fog, that is smoke. Well, the time has come, folks, to pay for the permit fee. My permit has been put through the township red tape where I am, and now I gotta pay the fee for the permit. So I've driven out a ways from my place here. I parked on the road where I get really good reception, and I'm about to pay this hefty fee that I gotta pay for the permit. I should do another whole video on this, like, should you buy unorganized land where you don't have to, pay for permits? Or should you do it the right way, or the by the books way, and get the permits and all that stuff? Both ways you do it, there's no right way. Both ways have their ups and their downs. So the first time I did it, I had very little red tape. Now I have a bit more. So anyways, here we are, good reception. It's time to pay the fee. Time to pay the man. Here we go. The sun is hazed out, got that orange glow to it. You see that? There's smoke happening way up there, and it smells kind of like a bonfire. Probably far away from here, but just thought I'd show you.
And so the work continued. The lighting was really weird in these next bits because the sun was just super orange through all the smoke. But today was the day for getting the walls going. I'm just using 2x4s on top of a 2x8 floor base and sheeting it with 1/2-inch plywood. If this shed becomes permanent, I'll probably just side it with board and batten. Anyways, as before, I'm going to just let the process unfold so you can watch for yourselves. Well, the smoke finally cleared and the breezes came in. A new day. Time to get back at it. That tarp is going to be a problem as the walls go up, but anyways, I'm just going to let the process unfold as usual, and you can tell me all the things I'm doing wrong if you want. Starting to get somewhere here, folks. This blank patch in the wall, I thought I ran out of plywood, but turns out I got some scrap right here that's gonna fit. Yeah, whoops, I missed this piece. There's just enough in there to make this work. I ran out of space on the shed floor to get those last walls together, so I just brought them out to the opening past the build site. This one is the front wall. I plan to build double doors for it. This thing is shockingly heavy to haul around. But it's just me out here, so what else am I supposed to do? And it's got to get done. So, as usual, I'm just hauling around everything by hand. And after a while of doing this, you just start to get used to it. It's no big deal anymore. This week has been flying by, but a shed build is so crucial to living in a wild landscape, you need to protect your gear. These final days are where the shed starts to really come to life. The walls all get tied in together, and if I can swing it, the roof will go on as well. Besides the smoke in the air, the weather has definitely been on my side. So here we go with the final stages of this thing. I didn't have enough scrap to properly cover this last bit of wall, so I just decided to add in a new stud, and that basically solved the problem.
Well, you know what time it is, folks. Time for some eggs, aka dinner. It's Friday night. I still have so much to do. As usual, I try to upload on Saturday morning, but this week has beat me down a little bit, just a little bit. So the video you're watching has uploaded on Sunday. Anyways, this is just a little break. I still have lots to do. The rain came a little bit, and it's gonna rain tomorrow. So right when I wanted to put the roof on the thing, of course. So I'm gonna have to play with the weather a little bit and figure that out. Anywho, I'm gonna eat this and enjoy it. My table is doing well. If you remember, I made a video about building this thing a little while back. It ain't great, but it ain't bad. Anywho, we'll see how this goes. The building, like, it's been a while since I built a shed. I usually had another set of hands with me, and it's the first time I think I've ever done a shed by myself randomly. And it's level, which is amazing and great, but some things I screwed up on. But it's all solid and level, so that's the main thing. And I just needed a roof to put my stuff under. That wasn't in my living quarters. So here we go. Hopefully tomorrow it is going to be done. We'll see. Started raining. This tarp only covers half of the shed, but I'm going to have to just live with it, I think, until this thing is done. It's the way it is. It's nice to have it started. Got to get the roof on the thing and the doors. I'm going to have to clean all this stuff up.
The rain is now coming. Well, crap. I scrambled to get everything into a sheltered spot for the night. I had stuff flying around all over the place after this week.
So, I'm getting out of the tent here. It's raining. I wanted my roof to be done, but it's not. So I'll show you what I did here in the rain. I just put the roofing up, and it's very imperfect form. It's just sitting there, and it's draining the water. But I got soaked in here first before I figured out I should probably do that. The back's all right, but yeah, I got pretty wet in here. I just got my towel and dried it up, but I think this is gonna work. What do you think? Good idea? There it is. Just cheap roofing, you know? I hope I can get the rafters on tomorrow. I hate when you're in the middle of a project, it's all wood, and then the rain comes. Not fun. But the tarp seems to be doing its job. The roofing is now doing its job. And yeah, good. Looking good so far. All right, let's see if this worked. Nice. It held. A little bit of water came down there, I think, but overall, it stayed pretty dry in there. Perfect. So now, the skies are still doing their thing. I've got to get some rafters on this as soon as possible, like right now.
And so the race was on to get these rafters up. And the rain was coming in pretty quick, so I just threw up sheets of roofing to protect the insides of the shed. There's only going to be a slight angle to the slope of this roof. A 212 pitch, so like a 10-degree angle. So I'm scribing and cutting bird's mouth notches into the wood. The water will drain towards the door of the shed because it has to flow away from the tent since it's right up against it. If it had sloped towards the tent, it would just soak the wall for the rest of the season.
I'm not filming this with the usual ways because it's getting poured on. Generators going down there, but I'm cutting off this ridge, finally, long last.
So finally, despite getting drenched up on the roof, I got the job done. It was disheartening seeing the fresh floor get soaked, but I didn't have the luxury of doing this tomorrow. This roof just needed to get done now, rain or shine.
Okay, after all the rain, I got the roof on. She's basically ready for a door now. There's some screw ups. The experienced eyes out there will know exactly what I mean. I ran out of roofing on this end, so I'm not gonna even show you. Actually, I'll show you the detail, why not? Yeah, you can see I ran out of roofing there. So I just have a temporary thing on right now. Next time I go get materials, I'll make sure I get one more piece of this cheap plastic stuff and patch it up. And I also didn't leave the plywood on there like I did on that side. So I have to patch that as well. And then I just gotta kind of fill in the gaps up top. Could even just use screen for the summer, you know? And that's it. So next project's gonna be getting that door on, fixing up the roof, filling in the gaps, and then putting stuff in there. Oh, it's taken a while to do that. I'm surprised it took so long, actually. I'm rusty, but this is a good warm up for what's to come. There's a lot more of this to be had, so yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. It was a long one. Stick around to the end. Gonna play some nature sounds if you're into that. I thought I'd keep that at the end. I'm somebody who could listen to nature sounds all day. I mean, I do, so. Next thing I'm gonna do actually as well is move that tarp over to the front of the tent. I've never had that. It's always been a shed at the back, having the extra tarp like a vestibule. And I've never had that luxury of having a tarp at the front. So that'll be a little nice to have on the rainy days. All right, folks, from out in the forest, I will see you later. Next week, cheers.
And now it's time to respond to your questions and comments. And a new thing I'm trying at the end is 10 minutes of nature sounds. For those of you who need some good old nature therapy, I went out with my field mic and got a bunch of sounds for you. So stay tuned for that if you're into it.
And welcome to another Q&A session, folks, where I read your comments and questions from a fine scroll of birch paper I've harvested from my forest. I wrote it down in pine tar, and I'm reading them out now. Thanks for watching. After this, there's going to be some nature sounds for those folks who need it. And let's get right into it. Okay, it is the morning of this video is uploaded, by the way, so this is last minute. I have to do this sometimes. Christine Winter says, how are you going to cut that rock to put in your foundation? So with the foundation, I'm going to be using ICF. I'm just going to be drilling rebar into the rock. I'm not actually blasting or cutting the rock like crazy. Just going to be drilling down into it and using it as an anchor for the foundation. You will see shortly now as things get rolling. Tish U6K says, my 4-year-old boy really wants to ask you why you might turn into a swampy animal. We watch every episode. He will love it if you can respond to that. Well, I live around a lot of swamp creatures, apparently, I'm learning. So the turtles, the frogs, the moose, they all like the swamps, and they're all close to me. I have more of those neighbors than people neighbors. So if I start turning green, start growing scales, and start having a shell on my back, if you see that, let me know, okay? That means I've spent too much time out here and I need to return to the human world. Keep an eye on for me, okay? Chick Mama Pallet Farm. I'm going to summarize this, this comment. She was saying how nice it was. I was talking about Fred in my last episode. Fred was the guy who made the cant hook that I used as a tool for my log pile. Fred lived near my last cabin, my original cabin, and great dude. He made that tool for me, and yeah. She says, I'll quote from here, I raised my glass to Fred, who lived well into his 90s and loved making tools. Thank you, Fred, for your human contribution in changing this world. And she also said that I think a lot of us who are attracted to this kind of content at the foundation, we are all seeking humanness in this rapidly changing world. Amen to that, and cheers to Fred, indeed, and guys like Fred. If you're interested in that, I made on my personal YouTube channel, I did a bunch of, I only did 4, I want to do more, a series called Unsung Heroes, where I found some old guys and got their stories and made tributes to the contributions they made. It's called Unsung Heroes. Charles, we had a great suggestion for the tadpole situation. I was trying to save tadpoles in the puddles. Twist a little stick, birch or alder, into the shape of a little aquaria net, and then attach it to a little bit and attach a little bit to some bug net screen to it. It should work fine to your tadpole salvation. Yeah, a stick with bug net, that is the way to go. Hindsight is 20/20. Good suggestion. Mike Olander says, as requested, my 5 and 7-year-old boys are watching the episode with me. They have questions. Okay. Why do you like nature so much? Leon asks, 7 years old. Well, we are nature, Leon. We are. There's no difference between us and the natural world. We're part of it. And I find nature to be a very calm place. It's not fast like the regular human world, like cities. It's slower out here. It's simpler and it's quieter. And in places like that, I feel very energized and very at peace. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other reasons I love it, but those are the first ones that come to my mind. And then Luca, 5 years old, asked, why did you try to make fire? So if you've seen a bunch of my episodes, I try to make friction fire every so often. And I do it because it's a great survival skill to have. You can go out into the woods, and if you don't have a lighter, you can survive with just some sticks and a knife. You can make your own fire, because the 4 big pillars of survival are shelter, fire, water, food. And if you know how to make fire without a lighter, you're going to be very good at surviving out there. And also, it's good to remember that for most of human history, that's how we made fire. The lighters and matches that we have now are the new inventions, believe it or not. It was always sticks. That's how we did it for a long time, so it's important to keep those skills alive. And we're going to go with Last Mom Outdoors says, thanks for sharing the sounds of the forest waking up. Love it. Perfect segue into this next section. I'm going to show you my favorite comment, or there's so many. I tend to go with the shorter ones so I can write them on the birch bark, just if you want to get your comment on a piece. And anyways, perfect segue into the next section here. I'm just going to let nature sounds play for those of you who want to hear it. And if you don't, I will see you. And either way, I will see you next time. The build is moving ahead. It's going to go warp speed, I think, very soon. So thanks for sticking with me, and we will see you at the next video. Cheers, everybody.